During this edition, we are going to tackle the diagnosis in epilepsy and the impact that epilepsy has on youth.
Kenya, we have traditional beliefs and some other cultures that have tried to define epilepsy. For example, in Kenya, people believe that epilepsy is a traditional curse or an inheritance from other people, which is not correct. Now, when you understand, for example, in your family, you see a person have epilepsy, you try to go back on the background of the family to find out who have been having this epilepsy that have introduced to your family, but it is wrong.
Epilepsy is a medical illness. I have to emphasize that. It is not a spiritual illness, and it is not a demonic possession. It is not a curse. It is a medical illness that affects the brain. And the brain being just another organ in our body, probably the most important but still an organ, it can be affected by illnesses like any other organ. We do have injuries to the brain, just like we can injure an arm or injure a leg. We can have infections in the brain, and these infections sometimes leave some functional abnormalities which often may come out as epilepsy.
First attack in 2006 after clearing high school, and at the moment I was told it was an electric shock, because I was sleeping nearby a socket. So I was told it was an electric shock, and I was just given painkillers. Then after that, I had another attack, and another one. Then another friend of my mom told me maybe it could be epilepsy, I better go and see the doctor. So that's when I went to see the doctor, and I was put under medication.
I woke up, I was preparing myself to go to school, to college journey, but I've never known what happened to me. I just found myself in the hospital. My left hand was burnt, and everybody thought that it was shock. So I recovered very soon and I became normal. Again in November, I went out with my friends, and I drank a lot. I knew I drank a lot. The next morning I went home. When I went to wash my clothes, I again fainted. But this time my mom told me I have to go to the hospital to see a doctor. So when I went to the hospital, the doctor recommended me to start the medicine of epilepsy.
It's very important that the diagnosis of epilepsy be clear, because you may be treating patients who are not epileptic, or you may be missing patients with epilepsy. The main thrust in making a diagnosis depends on the description one receives from observers of the events that occurred when the person had the seizure. It's from those details that the doctors and medical workers can work out whether this was an epilepsy attack or not. The reason why this is important is by the time the epilepsy patients are seen by doctors, they are usually completely recovered and normal, and they themselves can't give you any history because very likely they were unconscious when the epilepsy occurred.
As a teenager, I didn't have a lot of friends, and but the ones I had, I could easily talk about my epilepsy. I had to take my drugs twice per day, but yeah, sometimes I just forgot, or I just didn't know anymore if I took it or if I didn't take it. I wasn't very keen on it. I wasn't very good at it, and I know what I've heard. It's very funny. There are also these youth saying, my parents want me to take it. That's actually the reason why I don't do it. They always tell me what I should do, And sometimes I just want to make the choice myself what I do with my life. I used to feel down. I had a low self-esteem about myself. I couldn't do anything on my own because I just thought I couldn't do anything. But after being put on medication and getting to know about the other guys in Youth on the Move, my self-esteem got high and I'm now living as a normal person. Yeah.
As for me, it's really challenging, and not only to my side, but that makes it more kind of a burden to the others. I have to rely on them for them to provide me with the basic aids when I do have a seizure. When it comes to some of them, they really don't know how to provide the basic first aid.
Epilepsy, I used to fear to come out openly to join other people who are facing this, like to get an attack with where people are living. I used to feel ashamed. When I get an attack, I feel ashamed. And I want to help other people to know when they get an attack, they don't fear. It's just it's normal. Everyone can get this condition. Not to fear. It's not their choice.
Okay, the challenges I faced as a person who have epilepsy, in education, let's say, my memory went down. That's a first challenge that I have faced, and I don't feel good about it. It has affected my memory. Negatively, it has changed my life in that my family don't allow me to cook, and before I used to cook, but nowadays they don't allow me to go near fire. That's a negative change, but positively it has helped me a lot. As in, I've come to know what is it. I used to think that it's a disease, but it's just a condition, and it has helped me empower my talents.
With epilepsy, you have to be careful with your lifestyle. You can't go to bed all the time late. You have to have a regular pattern to live to avoid too many seizures, and that makes you. That makes many people with epilepsy struggling also in the family to find a good way how to live with it and to be part of the family. To be part of the family despite the fact that they have to be careful because of the epilepsy.
Kind of, when it comes to my family, especially my mother, we are not that close. Yeah, we are not in terms. And that really brought me down. Yeah. And when it came to education, I really had bad grades due to epilepsy, and it really affected my education. I had bad grades. I came out with something that I didn't expect, and I wasn't so much liked it.
Some people say you can't swim when you have the condition, but you can swim if you know well or you understand well about the condition.
The impact for youth with epilepsy can be big. It depends per youngster. One youngster can easily live with it, but there are also youngsters really struggling with it. Because when you're a youngster, you develop your identity. You want to be like everyone else. You just want to belong to the group. But if you're youth very often feel different because of the epilepsy, though they're just like anyone else. But of course, they have some things they have to overcome, like the seizures. They have to find a good way to live with it. But it's also that when you're a youngster, your body is changing. For girls, they can face a problem. For example, if they get their periods, the seizures are more likely to come around the periods. And so many things they have to get used to. They have to find a proper way how to live with it. And also to have the guts to come openly out of, speak open about having epilepsy. There are many youngsters, they feel so much ashamed that they keep it for themselves. And therefore they also have to bear, they have to carry the weight of the problems personally without sharing it. And that's something what is very important to change, to guide the youth in finding ways how to live effectively with epilepsy. Here in Kenya, this time we are going to discuss youth with epilepsy in relation to drugs and alcohol.